You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays. This is the Real Pineapple. Your boy, it's Hunter. Hi. Happy Election Day to those of us in the States. Will I be doing the Real Pineapple from my lovely office here in Nevada, or will I be doing it from a bunker? We'll know. We will know in about 24 hours. This is your host, Hunter. Hi again. I'm here with the pride of Canada, the pride of the Pacific Northwest. I'm here with Bradley. Canada, how you doing, sir?
Good. Yeah, just been checking in on all my American friends because of today.
Yeah.
Mostly it's a retaliation check. Like, hey, whatever happens, stay inside. Uh, and
Oh,
that is a
1,000%.
that is a very unfair view like Canadians have of the Americas, the United States. But no, if y'all could just stay inside for a week, no matter what happens, that'd be great.
Mm.
And I'm not sure what year it was specifically that made Canadians think, oh, a fender bender in the US, violence, an election result in the US, violence, some kid didn't get a good math test in the US, violence, the post credit scene didn't happen at a theater in the US, violence. And I know y'all aren't that violent, but
Uh,
we
you
also
sure? I'm pretty
statistically things
sure.
are on the decline in violence, and well, that's the thing too. Like, do the numbers lie? But I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I
Oh,
just
no,
want
no, no.
all my American friends listening, just try to stay safe. No
Yeah.
matter what the results, there is always a better world to build. It'd be a lot easier if Harris won. I'm not gonna do the thing where people say if one candidate won over the other. I'll say Harris is the better choice. Please, Harris.
Yeah.
We are so tired of aggressive mediocrity infiltrating your politics, and that's the nicest way
Yeah.
to put Trump I could think of. But
Yeah. I mean, that's coming from a
I
Cowboys
have
fan. So it's like,
concepts of a plan. Are you, 4 years? I have concepts of a plan. Like what a dumb toddler. Uh,
that so I mean, honestly, dude, I was gonna try not to spend too much time on it,
sure,
but
sure.
we
I
might.
apologize.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. You're good because we might as well soapbox corner this. So I'm just gonna keep it
yeah.
real with y'all as I always try to. Um, I believe Harris is gonna win. I believe Harris is gonna win by more than people think she's gonna win. Honestly,
Well,
and I
that's good.
think the
That's
Trump
good.
camp is getting. I think they're getting very because he came out today and said, "Oh, there will be no violence at A&D." Like it feels like a man who was told, like, "Dude, you're probably going to lose, and you kind of need to start the PR spin now." Because I think we've gotten so caught up in the election, we forgot Trump still has to be sentenced for all the shit he was found guilty of last year or earlier
And
this
also
year.
things
Like
that there's like future trial date. That's why everybody agrees with this, even people who know him. He's running again because it's his last chance to acquit himself of
exactly.
current crimes and crimes that he hasn't even been charged with yet.
Exactly.
So,
This is a man who knows the walls are closing in. And look, I'm just gonna say this to y'all as a person of color whose life is admittedly harder because he's black. If you're a straight white man, a straight white male, to quote
he's
Bo
talking about
Burnham,
us.
yeah, he's talking about you. To quote like to paraphrase Bo Burnham, like, why would you make this harder on yourselves? Like, all
Mhm.
you have to do is exist and not be super shitty. Like, and even that scale was pretty. Like, there's a lot of rope there. So, like, if you're born as a straight white man, take it as a gift that you get, because all this dude had to do is not is just shut the fuck up. That's all he had to do is
Mhm.
not talk. And this stuff would have been stuff we found out, years after he died. But he couldn't help himself. And that's where
Yeah.
ego is a motherfucker. And what I will say is we went and voted this morning. Um I left it on the other side of the house, but I did vote. LA and I went this morning at 7 a.m. We were there with bells on. Um Super easy. Like, I mean, I always like getting places early, honestly, just so I don't have to feel rushed and I can actually, settle into the vibe. And that goes for parties and, pretty much anything. But I was really happy that it was like so quick and easy. There was a polling place 5 minutes from our house. So yeah, got our voting done. And I lied. I said I wasn't gonna do any live streams or anything, but to be honest, I was like, this would just be a fun one.
Yeah.
Um,
It's relaxing.
also, yeah, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna be playing a lot of video games today. outside of the chat I run that Canada's a part of, I will be on do not disturb mode for the next 24 hours because I can't people. I can't be look at the map like, oh my god, who won the like I can't stress myself out like that.
Because
No.
the way that that's presented, at least in the States, Canada's is a very boring thing. They're like, the number 95 here has moved down to the number 94. Experts predict that within the hour, it may be a 96. Yes, very good, a 96. But I know in States, 24/7 media frenzy. In the States, it's all like, who will be eaten next? Are your rights missing? Are they being stripped away in front of you? Here's a random crazy
Right.
guy we found on the street. It's all going to hell. It's all going to hell. We'll be back with that expert more in 10 minutes. It's like, whoa, calm down.
That's a lot. Yeah. Like, well, I mean,
And I do think the 24/7 news media and its
motherfucker, get out of my head.
fear
I was
sells.
about to say that.
Fear
Yeah.
sells. I think that's what's caused a lot of discourse. Not necessarily a lot of how politics are run, because politics are politics, but a lot of just uncomfortable. The Simpsons. Watch old Simpsons episodes on how they joke about the news. That's not
Yeah.
like joking anymore. That's how the news
Well,
actually
they're
goes.
spot on.
One of my favorite bits is when Kent's all like, it seems that things have taken a turn from the worst. I have an expert here with me. Professor, is it about time that the viewers run out into the streets, crack each other over the head with big rocks, and eat the juices they find within inside? And the expert goes, I believe it is, Kent.
Yeah.
And like,
so monotone, like no inflection, just like, yep, nope, totally. This is how.
Feast upon the juices inside, I think he says, and that always got me as a kid. Like, what is he talking about? But that is the media now. Machine.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that, you know, and I talked about this back in I did a paper on this back in my freshman year of college. So that was like 06. I did a paper on this about how the 24-hour news cycle would dilute news and not allow us to actually process shit in real time. And I think 9/11 was a perfect example of that, because it became torture porn after a while, where it's just like, how many times can we show the towers fall? Like, how many times can this be burned into your brain? Like, I'll be real, man. Like, it's part of the reason why I'm not super thrilled when I have to fly somewhere. I'm just like, you know, the odds, astronomical as they may be, are still there. It's like, is this the like, did I happen to get on the flight where they're like, oh, you know? So I will simply say my last little push here is, if you have a daughter, if you have a female friend, Jesus Christ, if you have any friends that are members of the LGBTQ community, it's one choice. It's not even fucking close. And don't you dare be that person that says, oh, I love you, and you voted for Trump. No one wants to hear that shit. You've already seen 4 years what this fucker will do. It won't be any better the second time around. Actually, it'll be significantly worse. So don't be a douche and vote blue and vote for Kamala Harris, because she is clearly the better choice of the two. Last thing I want to throw out real quick, just because I'm a bit of not a huge historian, but I try to keep up on shit. I do think it's amazing that Al Gore lost the 2000 election. Something that he had literally prepared his whole life for was to become president of the United States, and he really gets royally screwed by the government. And he moved on like after 6 months, and we're 4 years later, and Trump is still saying he won the 2020 election. Like, dude, like, treat this like one of your ex-wives and let it go. Like, like god damn, at some point it's just pathetic. But yeah, vote for like I'll be real, but oh my god, I was trying so hard not to. Like, no, it's not your fault. So what's so frustrating? So let me am I okay? Okay. Can I present? Okay, here I'm gonna do this for work. So let me see, Samantha. Okay, so there is a so Samantha Irvin. She used to work for used to work for WWE. That's her, by the way, just real quick for point of reference. So she just quit WWE a couple weeks ago. And the amount of people and this is just like for the royal we, because y'all need to hear this. You don't owe your job anything. You clock in, you clock out, you get paid. That is what you owe your job. And the amount of people who've been like, what happened to loyalty at your work? How dare she leave? It's like, what is wrong with you people? Like, don't have, like, if there's anything all these mergers and all these layoffs are showing, is that companies will be loyal to you up to a certain point. So as an employee, if you have a chance to take a better job and get paid more, get more vacation time, have more time off for your family, please do that. Don't trap yourself. See what I did there? Don't trap yourself. Don't trap yourself, people. And the fact that she said that she didn't like being a ring announcer and that she wanted to be like a character, she actually wanted to get like involved in storylines because she has like an acting background and can like fucking sing. It's like, good for you, girl. Like, don't be limited just because you're good at something. Like, if you have higher aspirations, awesome, shoot for that shit. But the amount of like the tribalism with WWE fans, and I'll be real, man, that it's why I can't watch the product anymore. Outside of the Saudi blood money shit, their fan base is just like, it feels like I'm talking to Snyder Bros whenever I talk to WWE fans. Like, it's just gotten exhausting. Like, even when I gave someone credit the other day, I was like, yeah, Roman Reigns, easily one of the best wrestlers in the last 20 years. The first year and a half, I mean, a 4-year title reign for anyone is way too fucking long. That is for goddamn thing. It shouldn't it should not be that long.
But it can't be on him to relinquish that fame, fortune, and opportunity either. The company needs to do better and be like, hey, 4 years is a bit too long.
Yeah,
because Roman totally would have sold for someone. That's where I'm the most like, what are you doing, WWE? This guy is so good at selling, and you're like, let's make it an unbeatable mahogany god, like whatever.
Yeah, and the match just got very.
Why is everyone else unhappy?
Yeah, it's just like, but also, but I think Roman Reigns, like, the fact that Vince McMahon, ironically, one of the least shitty things he did is make Roman Reigns say fucking suffering succotash in a promo on TV in front of people. Vince McMahon wrote that and said, oh yeah, this will get you over. The fact he came back from that is damn near a miracle. So I give Reigns all the credit in the world, because Vince was doing everything. Like, people forget he was in a fucking feud over dog food, where he had dog food poured on him because he's the big dog. Get it, everyone? Get it? Do you get the subtlety? Because we're like, come on, y'all. So, but I said the other day, I was like, yeah, Roman Reigns is the second best member of the Shield, which I think is true, because I think Jon Moxley has been on a god tier run since he got to AEW, and that's not including his work in GCW, not including his work in New Japan, not including his work in Bloodsport. I think Moxley, top to bottom, is the best wrestler in the industry right now. I think you could argue Will Ospreay. I think he's right there too. I think you could argue Zack Sabre Jr. Like, there are other people.
They're so young to be put up on that GOAT pedestal,
Yeah, but again, props to Roman Reigns. I am a fan of his. In the amount, I had like 5 people. Oh, you AEW Mark, you don't know what I'm like, motherfucker. I just complimented him. I was like, I just complimented him and said he was great. Like, what the fuck do you want from me? It's like, god damn it. So, now look, I understand that's not all WWE fans. I get that. I have friends on Twitter, that I have, had discourse with and been like, oh, okay, you like WWE. I don't like that style of wrestling anymore. Fair enough, whatever, but it's at least cordial. I'm not having that for the most part on Twitter anymore. I'm just having these people just being really combative, and Twitter has become just like cesspool, like a cesspool squared at this point. Like, Twitter is fucking terrible. That's why I'm starting to use my Blue Sky more again, because goddamn. But yeah, all that to say, people, please go out and vote blue. I I just want to see Trump's meltdown. I'm not gonna lie. Like, part of me just really wants to see him like,
I think he's gonna go quietly into that
no
cold,
way,
dark night, you know?
no way, no way, fuck no.
I mean,
And
like, it won't be a threat. Like, I'm getting really existential here. I don't think he'll
go ahead.
thrash and fight. I think he'll just be like a soft sigh, and then Melania will be like, "It's Melania. Melania, is that his current
Melania,
wife's
yeah,
name?"
yeah,
She
yeah.
will be like,
Current being the operative word.
she will be like, "Oh no, husband dead. Oh, I'm so sad," and play the dumb idiot, which she's good at. And
She
then as
is.
soon as the kids are all like, "Well, all the money belongs to us, right?" She'll be like, "Oh, this is going to be fun, and everything's going to come out, and every single Trump
Mhm.
supporter, every single one of you listeners have known will be like, well, I didn't know that about them,' because she's going to unleash a tidal wave of this means
Oh
everything is mine,
yeah,
and they're going to get buried by it. Ivanka might, is it Ivanka? Yeah, Ivanka, I think
Ivanka.
will live
Yeah,
because it's coming. Everybody, her "Daddy Touched Me" book is going to come and save her and make her a victim,
yeah.
which she is a
There's
victim if that happened. I can't stress that enough. People
yeah,
you hate and think are vile, they are still victims of criminality if that happened to them. And
multiple
my,
things can
my
lead to
soapbox way
people.
too big right now. And
No,
if
no,
she
you're
releases that,
good.
I'll be all like, all the tells were that he literally out loud says, "I have a hot, sexy daughter and I want to bang her." He's
Yep.
been on camera saying that. So shame on everyone who's going to act surprised when that comes out.
Oh, I and
Anyways,
the thing is, like, we actually no, we knew each other in 2020.
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
The amount of smoke I was giving Trumpers, oh man, dude, I had people blocking me left and right. Like, I was not kind in 2020 when Biden won. Like, I had screenshots. I was going back. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, motherfucker. Didn't you say this? But oh, Canada. It was not pretty. And then what was really funny, and Trumpers, I'm gonna need you to keep this in mind. All I've heard for a lot, like, and I was hearing this all throughout 20 like 2016 to 2020. Why are you guys complaining? He's already won. It's over. You need to start praying for him and move on. Y'all gonna need to keep that same energy,
Yeah.
because when that shit happens in a couple days and you're like, oh my god, Trump was screwed. Though, like
No, and
the
I
quote,
do think you're right about that. I don't think he'll ever concede a loss, even though he
oh no,
doesn't have to
fuck
concede a
no.
loss because he's already a loser, and it's not required this time. Uh,
Exactly. But it's gonna be
he'll
it's gonna be like
demand that it's required. He'll make
it's gonna
something up.
it's gonna be like Mr. Burns in the Simpsons movie. One of my favorite jokes in that, he's like, "At last, rich white man is in control." Like, it's gonna be that shit. Like, it's gonna be people like going like, "I can't believe you got screwed." It's like, no, he didn't. It's like, yeah. So yeah. All that said,
It
people.
turns out that the Mephisto we've all been waiting for in the MCU was Trump's best friend all along, and that's how this all happened. I will go to my and when people thinking, "Oh man, Trump lives rent free in Brad's head," I can own that. For a long time, he did because I am so confused and still baffled. I don't know how long it's going to be. How long this? How did this happen? Is going to work. That every Republican somehow was like, we don't deserve better. We deserve someone who hates us, and we deserve someone who mocks how
Yeah.
we live and who would never push the family values we're supposed to actually believe in. Like,
Fuck no.
I'll die confused about that. Like, man, my dad was a Reagan era Republican who was all like, only Reagan can save us from Russia and their evil. And for him to be like, well, maybe Putin's not that bad. Like, what the hell happened? How did
I
Republicans go from Rocky IV is my favorite Rocky to, well, maybe Ivan Drago's not so bad. Maybe
because
maybe Apollo had it coming. Like, what the fuck happened?
I don't know. Well, I mean, well, actually, I do know. Like, Fox News, Reagan, Rush Limbaugh,
See,
like
I'm not
that.
in the. There's no Fox News in like zero. There is the closest Fox News gets to any news outlet in Canada sounding like Fox News is
Mm.
someone apologizing for not being sincere enough about apologizing. You know, Canada.
Oh my god, that's
It's
amazing.
never all like, well, I don't know. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
never a Glenn Beck. There's never been a Glenn Beck and O'Reilly. That
Oh,
no
you're
one like
lucky.
that is in Canada.
Uh,
You know, so
You're very lucky, because look, and the last thing I will say before we get to our review is like, as a black man, I stay confused about Trump because look, I've been doing this podcast for a decade. The amount of smoke I've gotten just for jokes on here or my opinion, like if you have me as a Facebook friend, search my and I tag Brad in it so he can tell you. Search my post about cuties and it being like an important film, and watch all the comments I got about you're a child molester. Oh, I didn't know you like young girls, Hunter. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I said this movie was important. Why are you yelling at me? Like, I said that, and that's nothing. Trump said grab him by the pussy, and he's allowed to run for president. Like, my brain can't comprehend how that works. What up, Afternoon Tim? What up, Josh? My brain can't comprehend it, man. Like, it genuinely confuses me, and not just confuses me, but it does piss me off, to be quite frank, because it's like, why? Why do you get to, yeah, about to be in I'm not going to be in a Kendrick song. I love Kendrick. What are you talking about? I think Canada got frozen, so I'm gonna remove him for a second here. Let me see if I can do this, see if we can get him back. But yeah, so you know, it's frustrating, but you know, like I said, y'all, please go vote. Please vote for Kamala Harris. She is the best choice for all of us. So all right. Anyways, with that said, I'm assuming Canada's feed was frozen, so I'm gonna somewhat set the table here while I go ahead and get this all set up. So we're reviewing Trap, the latest film from M. Night Shyamalan, who of course you know from doing The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Split, Glass, just to name a few. And good job, Josh. Thanks for voting. But yeah, so this is his latest film, and it stars the homie, Josh Hartnett, who you of course know from recently being in Oppenheimer, which he fucking kills it in Oppenheimer. You also know him as well from the Faculty, Lucky Number 7, to name a few. Oh yeah, he was in Black Mirror. So yeah, Josh Hartnett's been doing shit. But yeah, Josh Hartnett, he stars as Cooper, who is his dad who went ahead and takes his daughter to this Taylor Swift-esque concert, I guess is what I would call it. But he goes ahead and takes her there, and we find out that there might be more to the film than meets the eye as far as the concert and what is occurring. So, the film itself, I don't know what the budget on it was. I'm assuming it wasn't super. I'm assuming it wasn't super insane, but what I will say about this movie is, what I will say is, it's a fun flick. It's a dumb flick. It's very dumb, but it's a lot of fun. And I do think that this is going to be something that's gonna go ahead and get some traction later on, as far as like being kind of a nice Halloween watch. Brad didn't leave to go vote. He just let me know his internet crashed. So that's all right. We'll have him back on here in a few. But I really as I say that, as I was breaking,
if I was a conspiracy theorist, I would guess that I was kicked off for speaking truth.
I know, what the hell.
Just angry white guy rants, thinks he's new Messiah.
I just well, Jesus was white too, right? That's what all those paintings told me.
Actually, just another soapbox. I learned so much about racism when I was a young man, like 15 onwards, when I started saying things like, well, what to people, like, well, why would it matter what color he was anyways? And oh my gosh, some of the
and
and I'm actually, I've owned this My good friends Frank and Melina have heard me own this, and the Andersons. I'm still a pretty naive guy, and I own that about myself. You know, my wife thinks it's cute, and she thinks it's precious, and that she has this naive, innocent husband. Anyways, I'm married for 18 years. Finding out about racism in those awkward ways is so fascinating. Like,
Oh,
you know,
dude.
because I've known really good Christian people. I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't matter what color Jesus doesn't have to look like us. And the stares of like, did you seriously just say that? Did you seriously just suggest that Jesus doesn't look like the master race? Whoa!
Yeah.
And huh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, like when you see people like when you hear people go like, oh man, I threw out that God could have been a woman or non-binary, and
Wow.
Canada. Oh, if you like if you I remember people being mad at Ariana Grande and she wrote that song God is a Woman. And I remember being like, wow, people, like this is like this hits you way too close to home to be this like this offended. Um but
It kind of fits into that tribalism thing you were saying. Like,
exactly. But yeah, I was just talking about M. Night's career. Like he's had a very weird career. Like that's like the perfect way I can put it.
So the IMDb here.
So look, I no shame my game. Fuck y'all. I love Glass. I think Glass is great. I have issues with it. Like Bruce Willis being drowned in a puddle still does piss me off. But I really do fuck with that movie quite hard. I enjoy Split a lot too, because I think that's just a fucking masterclass performance for James McAvoy, someone who I still don't think gets the credit that he fucking deserves. But he's done weird stuff. Like The Visit is a weird movie. That's a weird one.
That was kind of his comeback film.
Kind of, yeah.
And I'd like to address that. Why did he need a comeback film? Like, I thought that was so strange.
Because he did the last Airbender, and
I never saw it, so I don't know the hurt.
Okay, see, dude. Okay,
I will like that series. I've watched that series with all my kids as they grow old enough to see it.
If you saw the film, you would get why he needs to come back, because that is Dragon. Like I go back and forth on if either that or Dragon Ball Evolution is the worst film. And you can honestly make a case for both, because Dragon Ball Evolution, that's still a movie that terrible. I was like, and I'm not even a huge Dragon Ball fan, but I know enough about the canon that even I was like, oh wow, I would be fucking furious if I was like a super nerd on this shit. In the last Airbender is basically like, oh, you know how like the fire and water tribes are super diverse and everything. Mm-hmm. Well, what if we made everyone white? It's like that's basically 90% of the movie. Like it's so bad, man. Like you would hate it. You would honestly hate that movie. You go like, oh, okay, I get why.
Yeah, I have no desire to see it, even out of curiosity. I've just heard, and like I said, we're big fans of that lore and that world in this house. So I don't want to watch anything that would upset.
There's nothing like an Enterprise on Christmas Eve. There is not a vehicle there for you. Like it's fucking terrible.
There's one thing they don't warn you about being a parent. Like, oh, when your kid finds out there's no Santa Claus, they become very distraught, and that's true. But they don't warn you that there will be a film your kid sees someday, and they'll look at you.
No, the Canada's
and it's so upsetting. So upsetting when a kid finds out that movies actually can be terrible. And so I try to avoid that.
I still remember the first time okay, so real people we're having fun. Bear with us, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I mean this is a standard stream, so I don't know why I'm apologizing. But I still remember the first time I figured out a game could fuck you over. Superman 64. I bought it with my own money. I remember I went home with because as much shit as I give DC, I've been a Superman fan since like a kid. I fucking love Superman. And I remember going like, oh my God, Superman video game, Nintendo 64, let's fucking go. And I get home, I'm like, oh my God. And it's like, oh, you have to fly through these rings. Okay, that's kind of stupid, but whatever. That's the first level. Oh, wait, you have to fly through rings again. What? Like, did I buy a Sonic game or did I get a Superman game? And
And it's
Sonic goes
plot heavy
way,
too. Like, mwahaha,
yeah,
Superman, you'll have to use these shitty controls to.
yeah. And Sonic goes way faster than Superman does in that game, which is
Yeah.
like, come on, like faster than a speeding bullet, and like, no, what? Like, it's if DC was smart, and I understand that with Zaslav there, that they're somewhat, stymied, but man, a Superman game by a developer who actually cares about the character, like even if you want to make it, I don't want to say base floor, but even a whole if you took Hulk Total Destruction, that video game,
Mhm.
if you use that as your template, mix that with Spider-Man 2, and you can like be Superman. You can save people if they're about to like fall and shit like that. Like those are your that's a side quest. Like you could do so much with Superman in a like Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite games genuinely that I've ever played in my life. I know some people go like, "What about this subplot?" Shut up! I don't care. My only real issue with the game is that weird Miles suit that he gets in like the third act. That's really my only issue with the game. Outside of that, storyline wise, they're balancing like 8 different things. It's the most coherent Venom story that they've told in Spider-Man in a fucking minute. So that's one. So that already gives it a huge, bump up. Way better than Spider-Man 3. And it like that game got genuine emotion out of me. Alea doesn't game. She watched me play. She refused to let me play the game without her if she wasn't home, because she was like, I don't want you getting a plot progression without me. She fucking cried at the end. Like games can do that. And so yeah, give Superman a chance, god damn it. But
Well, that just to put an exclamation on it,
yeah,
there's maybe been, and y'all let me know if I'm being hyperbolic, but I think there's only been one acceptable Superman game, and that was I
Death
think
and
it was a
Return.
SNES, Superman's Death and Return. It was just a
Yeah.
side-scrolling beat 'em up, and that was fun.
Yep. Yeah, it
Every
was
other
fun.
Superman game has been complete trash. Like the
Yeah,
N64
basically.
ring thing, my
It's
trifling ass, I was
still,
like, okay, you're just flying through ring. I like flying. I like that Superman can fly. I'll play this.
yeah,
Still garbage. The controls garbage. As you
so bad.
said, the speed garbage. The immersiveness. The fact that he just stays in one pose while he's flying, complete garbage. That there
Yeah.
isn't a Superman game that emulates the joy and wonder of web slinging, but flight. You know, I
That
could play
is
those
such a
Spider-Man games for hours just because of how freaking fun it is to web sling.
you feel
And
like you're
there's no
Spider-Man.
flight game like that
Yeah.
for Superman. Get the fuck out of here. What are these
You're
game developers doing?
you feel like you're Spider-Man when you're web swinging. That's how it
Yeah,
should feel. And like
exactly.
I want to have that like say what you will about Marvel's Avengers, like when you're flying as Thor, you can actually like attack in the air and shit and actually use Mjolnir and like do a literal superhero landing and cause damage. I'm like, why is this so much fun? And
Mhm.
it's a game that's no longer fucking supported. Great job, by the way, Crystal Dynamics making it a live service game, you assholes. Like I'm still, dude. Okay, I'm still so
Yeah.
bitter about that because I still have it installed on my PS5 because it's an Avengers game. What do you fucking want from me? Like I'm gonna play it on occasion. Like the way I equate that Avengers game, it's like those games you would play at like a round table where it's just those like AKI like side scrolling like Japanese like style like beat 'em ups where it's like 20 bit enemies on the screen. You just need to go through them all. That's how I equate something like Marvel's Avengers. Now, granted, I also got the Avengers edition, so I paid $200 goddamn dollars, and the game's no
Mhm.
longer supported. But but I digress.
That's
But
great that Kamala was in there too before, I think before her blow up as well. So,
yeah, yeah,
that's another thing. DC, who's ever got the rights to develop those games, like take swings. We got so many Marvel characters that people have said, I've never heard of that character. And then they play
yeah,
the game and they're like, wow, this character's fucking awesome. The Lego Marvel game having like
Yeah.
thousands of characters, even ones I haven't heard of. I think going back, we've known each other since 2020. I think I've even messaged you being like, who is this character?
You
I'm
have,
playing
yeah.
Lego Marvel Avengers and I've never heard of this character. And my kids are looking at me like, we thought you were a nerd. You're a betrayer.
Like,
Like,
how dare you? Like,
I'm like, wait, I know who it is. Just quick, just gonna Hunter.
yeah, Hunter, tell
Oh,
me.
yeah. Who is this? Who is this?
Yeah. Oh, fun fact, they premiered in this issue. Oh, you are a nerd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, Hunter. But yeah, like a Justice League game. Like okay.
It shouldn't be
It
this complicated. It
it
all
shouldn't
boils down
be.
to that. Yeah.
Like the fact that that one of my favorite versions of Batman is in the Batman Telltale games because they did different things with that character. It's like, if you're not going to make the games in-house, could you imagine someone like oh god, and I hate to give them money, but I'll just throw them out as an example. Could you imagine someone like BioWare doing a fucking Green Lantern game? They would
Yeah.
fucking kill Green Lantern game. Like,
I mean, the morals and ethics that BioWare
yeah,
infuses into that sounds like that should
that's
happen, actually.
that's a layup
The
right
fact that
there. Like,
I'm already on board, and it's
you're
just one
welcome.
sentence.
You're welcome,
BioWare
DC. Yeah,
Green Lantern.
give me credit for that shit. But
dude, you create your own lantern and like get your
oh,
own
dude,
ring based
yeah,
on
pick the
color.
ring you want.
That has so
like,
much replay value. Just thinking
Yeah.
about it.
right, yeah, it's right there. But yeah, like you know what's interesting is like I feel like M. Night, and I hesitate to say this, I feel like he could do a superhero film or show on a smaller scale. Like, I think something like Kick-Ass, something in that ilk, would actually be really good for him. I know he said he doesn't want to work with like bigger budgets because Last Airbender kind of traumatized him, which fair enough.
Mhm.
But I think something like that could really work. And he clearly kind of likes this like almost like fairy tale, kind of like fable aspect. See Lady in the Water. Which isn't good, by the way. Like, that's not a good movie. But I think M. Night's a very clever guy, and I feel like he is just kind of almost just happy at this point, just kind of making movies. Like, he's just like, oh, I get to make movies. That's fucking cool. I never watched it. I heard Servant was actually a fun show.
Yeah, it's very weird, very strange.
That's another show on Apple that I feel like I
Yeah.
barely saw advertised. It's like, oh, M. Night
Wife
has
and
a show on-
mom-in-law binged it and they loved it. So.
Really? Okay, well, see, there
I'm
you
not
go.
very good. I can't keep up with their binging. I'm just like, I'm too tired. I guess we'll start tomorrow, and they're like, "You're about to get left behind, boy." And
Right.
that's,
Like-
that's how that goes.
Like,
which is fine. Which is perfectly fine. Yeah.
But I know. So we kind of agree on this too. So he did. So I still haven't watched Old. I can't.
The
bring
beach
myself
that
to
makes
do
you
it.
old.
Yeah, like I'll be real. Nathan, shout out to Nathan. But I heard Nathan basically give me a fucking sermon about why it's good, and then every other person I talked to was like, "Oh, he's fucking wrong. This movie sucks." So I'm just like, "Oh, all right." Like, which is kind of standard Nathan on a lot of films that he likes, and I just like, I feel like there just isn't anything here for me. Like, even when I was seeing the trailers in theaters, I was like, like this feels kind of like the beach, like Leo's the beach. And I'm like, I did enjoy that. I doubt I'd enjoy this. So I just didn't watch it. But at some point I will. Knock at the Cabin is a movie I'm very conflicted about because it's got an amazing Dave Bautista performance. Like, an amazing Dave Bautista performance.
Yeah,
but
I
then
agree.
like the end of the movie basically proves him right. And it's like the apocalypse was happening. It's like, well, then shrug, basically. Because like you wouldn't kill your daughter or your partner, so you cause all of this. Like, that's basically what the movie lands on. And I just kind of went, ugh, like, really? That's where you're leaving this? And
there's some deep thoughts you can have about it that I don't think the movie's interested in. Like, as a parent, I wouldn't be like, maybe we should take these invaders seriously. Like, step one, that is never happening. If someone breaks into my home, I'm not even listening to what they're saying.
oh, fuck no.
Like, not even a little bit. If
No.
I'm able to get out, I wouldn't get out and be like, okay, let's do some diplomacy here. It's and all parents know this, so watch out, people. It's bite, scratch, and claw. A parent will bite your neck in like a dog if they think their child is in danger.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what we're taught. You know, it's horrifying. It's gross, and that's how that would end. Would Batista murder me defending my family? Absolutely,
I was like, yeah,
absolutely. I can't be. I
one,
know
one,
that if I
one,
bit,
one spine buster.
yeah, if I bit Batista's neck, I am not so delusional that I don't think my jaw would break, and I'd be like, oh, that's right. This man is a
he's a
Adonis.
tank. Yeah,
I'm not going to shit all over it though. I think his performance is wonderful, and I
it's
think
amazing.
Rupert Grint also very good.
Dude,
The
so
two
good.
leads and the child, excellent. It's actually a really M. Night Shyamalan, I think, always gets the best out of who's ever in his films, and that's not something every director can say.
Yeah, not that I would mention any certain directors who
But
are
no, yeah.
incapable of
By
doing that.
end, it's like God needs you to kill someone you love, and I'd be like, and this is just me, and I've been told varying things about my position on this. My
Okay.
children, what I'm about to say, have said, "Oh, you sound like a really cool Final Fantasy villain." I'm like, villain, but like, well, then God can come down and kill one of us. I'm not doing His work. I am not committing any atrocities because God wants me to. God's doing His own atrocities today, and that's how
Oh
this is going to play
man.
out, Batista. So I don't know how a film would go if that's how a cult was
So
talked to. I don't know.
what's weird though about that, and I think you bring up a fair point, is like it's the Abraham and Isaac story,
Mhm.
except God doesn't come down and go, "Oh, just kidding." Which again, as a kid, always just made me go like, "Why? Like, why does the test have to be that intense? Like, why? Like, come on! Like, he's shown that he's loyal to you. Like, why do you have to? Which is why so many, Trumpers and Bible thumpers completely disavow the Old Testament, because the more you
Mhm.
read the more Old Testament, like outside the Psalms, basically, the more the more you're like, like
Yeah,
okay, don't
I've
like
always thought that was fascinating as well. Like, I don't know, remember what comedian it was, but for Isaac and Abraham on the way back from the mountain, how awkward
oh
do you think that
right,
walk was?
right, like oh, so shit got a little crazy,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, we gonna tell mom you were gonna murder me, or
yeah,
yeah.
that's that part
Maybe to
though.
the grave, son. He gets down
I
there. I passed the test. All bragging
it's
about
it's
it.
it's very
I
yeah,
didn't
it's very
murder my
hard.
kid today. Some parents would be like, I get it. Good for you, Abraham. Some would be like,
Right?
okay, yeah, good for
It's
you.
it's very weird, but like what I would say is for M Night is to your point, he does get amazing performances out of whomever he works with. I do like that ending, admittedly, did sit like ick for me, and I think
Mhm.
that's like my biggest issue, because through most of it I'm like, oh man, B plus, like B plus, let's go. And then that ending hits, I just went, oh, so they were right, which basically kind of negates most of this. So I mean, I'll be real, man. It goes from like a B plus to like a C plus for me. Like I really hate that ending. Like it really actually like dragged me down kind of significantly the more I thought about it. So
Mhm.
much so that I actually re-recorded the back half of my review for it, which I never fucking do. But like I thought on it for a day, and after talking to you, I was like, yeah, he brings up a fair point. Like, does prove that insane people right, which is I would think would not be the fucking point. Um,
Yeah. Well, the book's based on The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. There is no ambiguity in the sense that Paul Tremblay writes in a prose that condemns religious fanaticism. Like, if someone comes to your house and says, I was sent by God in a Paul Tremblay novel, it's this person is fucking insane and will hurt someone. When someone says they're sent by God, this is not a loving message. This is someone's about to die. And the way that religion is able to manipulate otherwise good, kind, loyal people to commit atrocities is horrible. Now,
agreed.
M. Night Shyamalan took that story and was like, "No, I'm going to make the ending about love," and I think it's a huge whiff.
I Yeah, like so like I get what he was trying to do. I think the execution is very sloppy in the
Yeah.
last
The
20 minutes.
imagery is very good as well.
Yeah, oh
So
no, imagery is great. And look, I'll put myself out there. I mean, I was talking to Alea about it, and I was like, if like I would kill myself before I could kill
sure,
Alea
yeah,
or either the like
I get that.
thinking about sacrificing either of the cats genuinely makes me like I'm gonna stop talking about it because I'm actually getting like teary eyed thinking about that. Like I couldn't make that decision. Like there's
Mhm.
no fucking way I could. I would just be like, cool, I'm off myself. Like I love you all so much. Um, and but yeah, that ending is just very frustrating. So that gets us to here. That gets us to Trap. So Josh Hartnett, been a big fan of his for a minute. I talked about his Black Mirror episode that I watched, and it was actually really good. I talked about him in Oppenheimer, which I think he's actually really great in. Penny Dreadful, obviously, which is actually a really good show for those of y'all who haven't seen it. Um, Big fan of his. And this movie is so funny because this is kind of almost like a Bradley movie in the sense of like, oh, it's a dad who has to take his daughter to a concert that he probably doesn't want to go to. But them's are the breaks of being a dad. You gotta sometimes just suck it up, like
Sure, yeah.
being a big brother. I bring this up before, but I
Mhm.
took my sisters to Twilight Mania, as I call it, and that was 4 Twilight movies in a row.
Wow.
Oh wait, was it 4 or was it 5? Wait,
There's 5 movies because they
maybe 4.
turned the last
Okay, so
movie into 2 movies.
yeah, they pulled a Harry Potter. So no,
Yeah.
it was 4. So it's 4. So yeah, we saw Twilight, New Moon, which is still one of the worst films I've seen in my life. Fuck New Moon. Come out like that movie fucking blows. No one will ever convince me otherwise. Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and then they showed Breaking Dawn Part 1 at midnight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I remember shit started at 4. I remember I left my credit card at the Buffalo Wild
Oh,
Wings, which was like next
no.
door. And I flat told him, I was like, keep this tab open because in between movies, I'm going to be coming back to grab like a tall beer because I'm going to need to be somewhat drunk to get through this. And so, like, I kept going back and forth in between movies. My sisters were there with their friends, so I wasn't leaving them alone. So before you all go, like, how dare you, calm down, it's fine. But yeah, like that was one of those big brother things where my parents were like, "We're not taking her to see that shit." So, like your big brother duty, take her out. It's like, fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's really sweet.
so I have souls. I have a soul sometimes, but watching this, I felt those vibes. I was just like, oh man, he does not want to be here. Like this would be like one of my nieces being like, oh, let's go see Taylor Swift. Which straight up to all my friends who have kids who are like, oh, Josh can babysit. I will never take your kids to Taylor Swift concert. Just that is my line. I will never take your. I'll take them to see Dua or Olivia or Sabrina. No Taylor. So just don't even fucking ask me. But but I like how he's very much playing it up. Like he's like, oh my god, look at where we are. Like this is so like it's nice to have someone get you hyped for something that you're hyped, that you're already excited for, like
Yeah,
feed
yeah.
into that. And he's being a really great dad from that perspective. There is this small caveat that he might be a serial killer, and that that might throw off him being a good parent, just throw off
With like
the access only.
a very disturbing calling card for his victims as well.
Yeah,
He like
that
draws and quarters them up really well into like meat chunks or something.
which is fucked like that. Like
Yeah,
that was like
right.
when they revealed that, I was kind of like, oh, like because when
Profilers say it may be a white guy from the ages of 30 to 45 or 30 to 60. And I thought, well, how did they know he was a white guy? And my wife, without skipping a beat, was like, well, it just said that he like cut up his victims and put them in piles. Kind of sounds like a Seattle thing. It's like, oh,
yeah,
this is messed
yeah,
up.
like when he said that, I was like, oh, but also not wrong.
The
Also,
butcher, yeah, I think his call name is the butcher, if I remember
but the
correctly.
butcher, yeah,
Yeah.
like that's the thing though. Like I remember I remember with the DC sniper years ago, the guy who was like shooting
Oh
people out of the
yeah.
trunk of his car. I remember they found like that fried chicken bucket, and people were like, "Oh my god!" Like, and I remember telling my teacher, "I'm like, oh, it's a black guy. There's no one." I was like, "There's no way a black guy wouldn't leave the bucket and just be like, fuck it, like I got my food." And my teacher was like, "That's so fucking racist. How dare you?" And then 2 hours later, it's like, "Oh, hey, look, it was two black people." I'm like, "It's like what did I? It's like what did I tell you?" It's
Gotta get Hunter on the profiling scene.
yeah, it's like some stereotypes exist for a reason. And Josh, yes, I believe that you would take all your white girlfriends to Taylor Swift concerts because you have no shame.
I want to say that I wouldn't mind going to a Taylor Swift concert. My kids are more into Olivia Rodrigo.
oh,
But
so
when they
they like
asked,
the
yeah, they're
music.
like, yeah. They're like, Dad, do you know Taylor Swift? And I'm like, sure, I know Taylor Swift. Romeo, take me to I'm gonna be alone. And my wife was like, honey, that was like over 10 years ago. I'm like, nah, that's
Right? You're like, how dare
and
you?
yeah, they played some new I know Shake It Off, of course, but all this new stuff she's done for 10 years, I guess. I don't know how, but it all went under the radar for me. I don't know anything about Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, everything I learn about Taylor Swift is from friends of mine who I love,
Mhm.
but who like that's their like shrine of the silver monkey. Legends of the Hidden Temple reference, by the way, people, for those of you who didn't get that. But yeah, like I can't. Like I've tried, man. I actually listened to the Tortured Poets, like her calling herself a
The
poet is kind
Tortured
of like
Poets Society.
yeah. I'm like, really? Like it would kind of be like Zack Snyder putting out like the tortured artist director
Mhm.
uh, pamphlet or whatever. But no, I listened to the album, whatever, and yeah. But watching this, I'll say, um, I really appreciate the scope of it in terms of how like the concert and everything is shot. Um, I'd kind of assume that's probably the most expensive part of this movie as far as the budget, because like it's like an actual arena and like you
Yeah,
have the
it
lights and all that shit.
looks, and it's my understanding it kind of is, an actual concert film,
Yeah,
and from what I've seen, I haven't seen a lot, but probably one of the better ones. Like,
yeah,
Lady
weirdly.
Raven is very well promoted, her stage production looks awesome. She actually sings well, so that surprised me. I know a lot of
Yeah,
problems with
same.
concert films is just the acoustics alone and all the screaming. You can't hear the singer at all. It's like, like competing against the screaming voices. So yeah, and it's my understanding, is her actual singing pop name Lady Raven, or is that just for this film?
I think it's just for this film.
Okay.
Uh, the the actual singer is Salika. That's what it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Salika. Yeah. Um,
And that's just really and I know I'm often a hypocrite, listeners, so apologies. Like I'll rant about how nepo babies they're ruining Hollywood, but knowing that M Night funded his daughter's concert
right.
movie, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so sweet.
Well, the problem is like there's always like it's like nepo babies are kind of like the lottery in the sense of there's
Mhm.
always a chance you could hit like and you get a Maya Hawk or you get a Jack Quaid and you're like, oh my god, this person's amazing.
Right.
So that's
Which
enough
makes
for
me a
you to kind of
hypocrite, but yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Like
but that's
Jack
enough to
Quaid,
kind of make
I
you
love
go like
Jack Quaid. I love Maya Hawk.
yeah, but that's enough to make you think like maybe this
Mhm.
will be another one of those, and then you get another Emma Roberts, who
Well, it doesn't
who
help that she's reportedly an awful person also.
I mean that too, but I also like never got it with her. Like I remember she had a Nickelodeon show, didn't she? Wasn't she on a
I don't
Nickelodeon?
know. I
I
missed a lot of the
God, now I'm gonna have
Nickelodeon
to.
shows.
I hate that I'm gonna have to look this up now because it's gonna
Yeah.
bother me. I feel like she was on one of them. Um, oh god, because I haven't even reviewed that fucking movie she did earlier this year, Space Cadet. Oh man, I haven't even talked about that yet. Woo,
Is it
like
bad? Well,
oh
yeah,
dude,
that's such an interesting point you make. You have the Maras on the left, and they're like they come from incredible wealth. I'm not sure if anyone in their family acted, but just an incredibly high 7 zeros in the paycheck wealth. But they're
yeah,
amazing. Both of these sisters are amazing, the Maras. I've
oh yeah,
always
they're
enjoyed
fantastic.
watching their films. And then you have Emma Roberts, and it's like kind of like, what was that one she did with Hayden Christensen that was like a chore to watch? It was Little Italy, I think it was called.
Oh
And it was
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
awful. Like, ugh.
Well, see,
Like
I
her
remember
growing up in the industry, she should have known to read that script and be like, "But this is
Unfabulous. That
terrible."
was it. Yeah, I knew she was on. I
Unfabulous.
knew she was on
Yeah.
the fucking. I knew it. I was like, I was sitting here. I was like, I can literally picture the poster. Yeah, she's. I knew she was bad when I watched Hotel for Dogs. So I was like, I hope these dogs bite
I
this
missed
bitch.
that
Like,
one. That sounds terrible.
I was
Yeah,
like,
that sounds terrible.
yeah,
Eric
she's still.
Robert, pull better strings for your that's his daughter, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
why
Yeah,
why aren't you all pulling better strings for better scripts for this actress?
yeah, she's. I mean, to be fair though, she's just not a good actress. Like,
Yeah, I
she's
agree with
just
that.
like. I mean, Scream 4 is honestly like the peak of her.
I can agree with
Um,
that too. Yeah.
yeah, seeing her in Madam Web, I was just like, God damn,
I
you
didn't
just
see that
suck.
one. She
I was
was
like, I was like,
was she Aunt May in that one?
yeah, which
Yeah.
God damn it, just Sony.
Yeah.
Can y'all just sell, like, you could probably make
I
$8
don't think
billion
Emma
by
Roberts
just
is gonna,
selling.
yeah, grow up to be Marissa Tomei, but all right.
Man, I'll be real. Emma Roberts at her best has never looked as good as Marissa Tomei looks now.
Yeah, at her
if you
worst.
told
Yeah.
if you told me right now, like, Hunter, would you rather make out with Emma Roberts or Marissa Tomei? I couldn't shove Emma
Well,
Roberts out of the
Marissa
way.
Tomei also exudes beauty and
I,
grace.
I mean
And
that
I don't
too.
know if it's something that she was trained to do through acting. Yeah, her characters are more man, I really try not to bash Emma Roberts, but they have a soul. And
Yeah, like, well, I mean, I like to date someone who's not gonna hit me unless I ask them to
I've
for
heard
sexy
about that.
reasons,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
remember hearing about that.
there's that too.
I think that's why that Scream Queen show got canceled. It's because of her
Oh,
answers.
that was a show, wasn't it? Yeah,
Like
that
not American Horror Story, but I think she was on a show called Scream
that's correct.
Queens that
Yeah,
did get
Scream Queen.
canceled, and
Yeah.
people alluded to probably because of all her violent antics.
Yeah, that not a great show, by the
Yeah.
way. Uh but what I think is interesting about this movie is that he's trying to be a good dad. He's got her there, obviously, but then there is this point where the film goes, "Oh yeah, this whole concert is bullshit. It's about catching this serial killer that we're pretty sure is in the arena, and now it's just a matter of us basically focusing in and like closing the walls and capturing this motherfucker." And so it's all about, what's he gonna do? Are they gonna be able to catch him? And what I really do appreciate about this is, I have often given white people shit, especially in movies, about like,
Mhm.
man, y'all just do not catch signs. And it's like, man, like, you know, like, I mean, I give you shit for it all the time. It's like, oh, like, can't Bradley moves the family to a new house? Why is the TV floating? Oh, but
Yeah,
come
like
on,
like
everyone,
in
like
real
this.
life, I've been like, "Oh, weird, my door just opened by itself. Weird air pressure today, I guess." And you've
Yeah,
been
it's
like,
just like
what?"
Canada. like, I love you too much to not point these things out to you. But 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 credit to the daughter, she's not dumb. And I was actually very concerned they're gonna
Yeah,
kind
I
of pull the
agree.
teenage dumb shit with her. And she at multiple points brings up the fact, like, Dad, you're being fucking weird. Like, what's up with you? There's this point where he's straight up, there's this opening where this random rapper pops up and does the song with Raven.
Was
And
a Kid Cudi, yeah?
no, it's a different
No.
it's a different
Oh, okay.
yeah, because remember he popped like the
The one who
platform mic
comes from
open.
the
Yeah,
trap door in the floor. Yeah.
yeah. And just from nowhere, Cooper's like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool to like go down there and see what, and
Yeah.
like I'm sitting there watching going like, that's fucking dumb. Why would you want to do that? And
Yeah.
and she rightfully so goes, no, Dad, that's weird. Why would we
Yeah.
do that? And I was
We're
like,
watching a
thank
concert.
you. Yeah, I'm like, thank you. Because if she at any point was like, oh, that sounds like so much fun, I'd be like, you dummy, like, what's wrong with you? But no, she's actually focused on the concert. But at the same time, it's like, this is weird that you're being like, weird about this shit. So I really appreciate that. I also appreciate something that I have dealt with, and I'm dealing with it more, it feels like. Seeing parents or people you just don't want to see in a venue where you're trying to relax is such a mood. And he runs into this what's the daughter? Oh, Jody's mom.
Yeah.
That's it.
Jody's mom. I think
So
that's
I
the
will,
character's name.
yeah, Jody. Yeah, so I will say they don't get into like what really happened. They kind of get into it, like like him and his Jody and Riley just have like a falling out, but they don't really get into it too much. I do wish they would have delved into that a little bit because I think there is an interesting potential like story there.
Mhm.
But yeah, they didn't get into that. I thought that was a missed opportunity. I will say too, the girl who plays Riley, Ariel Donahue. I know her. You know her from that show on Peacock, Wolf Like Me. She plays Emma on there, which is a really good show, by the way, people. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend you do. But I really liked her. I really liked her in this. I was like, okay, I think this girl could be something.
Yeah, I
Moving
agree with that
forward.
too.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so it's cool to see that. But yeah, let me kind of get your initial thoughts of this, like going into it. Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, I do think that as silly as the premise sounds, like that's what people are attacking the most. Like, really trapping a guy at a concert? Come on, it's the police, it's the FBI, it's the CIA. Of course, they would. Like, it is
Maybe
not
without
unbelievable to me to do a desperate move like this to catch a serial killer, especially when someone can take all the credit for it.
they've done shit like this before. Like
Yeah,
this is like not
exactly.
a
Like,
stretch at all.
this is not crazy to me. I do like how Riley, as you put it, she's very much like a teenager. I would have liked to know more about the fallout between her and Jody as well.
Yeah.
With teenage daughters, from my experience, it could literally be something that they thought that was thought about them, and like it's this whole crazy thing. Like, I don't understand a lot of the language and culture of the teenage mind,
Teenagers are
which is
bad at
terrifying.
communicating.
But yeah,
Yeah.
John
Teenagers are just
Mulaney
bad
has
at
a really good sketch about how teenagers are the most cruel and
Oh my
inconsiderate
god.
people in the world.
Teenagers are terrifying. Like I like as someone who worked retail like during like his early 20s, the amount of times I would see teenagers yell at their parents and like I saw a girl throw a binder at her mom. Her mom's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "Man, it must be nice being white because I couldn't even I
Mm.
if I had wound up, my mom would have shot me before I got a chance to throw the binder at her. Like I would have been like this and would have been like,
Counter. Yeah.
yeah, like oh, why is her holding my binder? Like I wouldn't even got the chance to go like this. Like fuck off. But yeah, you're not wrong. Teenagers are scary, man. Teenagers are. Well, I mean, to date ourselves here, but I remember being a teenager, being just so like hormonal and like horny and sad and like depressed and like being like, oh my god, all these emotions. What the fuck do I do with them? And that was in 2000,
Yeah,
2001
exactly.
when media wasn't as intense as it is now. I don't know how kids do it now. Like,
100%. Yeah.
like Facebook was, or not Facebook, MySpace, even older, was was just becoming a thing when I was in high school. So like back in my day, you had to bully someone to their face. Now it's even easier to just piss people off, and you don't have to be in the same room. Like I don't know how teenagers do it. So I mean, if you're a teenager, I mean, honestly, props to you for just waking up this morning and doing it again because it's a lot. Like life's a lot. But yeah, to your point, teenagers are so bad at communicating. It could have just been like a simple like, oh, I thought you were saying
It
this
could have
about
been
me.
nothing, or it could have been something huge. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, or it could have been, a tiff, just a tiff. I think, like most, like I said earlier, Shyamalan films, Josh Hartnett has so much to do in carrying, and he's very bizarre and strange.
Oh my god, he is.
And seeing him get more frazzled as the movie goes on is very fun to watch. As you said earlier, like, white people expect your privilege. I was just kind of surprised he wasn't like, oh, okay, the cops are here. I'll just say it wasn't me, and that'll be enough. That privilege delusion. But he never leans on that once, and I thought that was odd. Like, just say it wasn't you,
Yeah.
or just do their interview and leave.
That
But
yeah, you're not
then
wrong.
there's not really a movie, so I understand that also.
Also that like I guess the thing that's because you're not wrong. Like it is like everything they have is very circumstantial, and they have like the skeleton of a skeleton. Like it's not even like full on skeleton. Like they have concept. It's more of an outline of what this guy potentially is versus like, you know, a heart like a character profile of him. They did have this doctor in here, Dr. Josephine Grant, who's played by played by Haley Mills. And I will say
Parent Trap.
Oh, that's right. That is her, isn't it?
Yeah.
And more importantly, that darn cat. But
yeah.
but
very underrated film.
I agree.
Yeah.
Here's probably my biggest issue. There's nothing about her. She's just there. Like they're just like, oh, we have this doctor. And like you could have given me a minute long, like oh my gosh, like montage of her work, like give me something to understand she's credible, but they just go, no, she's a doctor. Shut up. She knows all this. She knows profilers, and it's just kind of like, all right, like could you take a minute and just be like, oh man, she caught. Like if you're gonna establish your world. It's like you could have had like I know
her
that
like a super expert of some sort.
Yeah, I think they mentioned that she's caught like one or two people, but it's very like kind of flippant, kind of like off the cuff, and it's never really revisited. And I'm like, well, all right, that would have been, you know, nice to, especially when you consider Split connects to Unbreakable and then obviously to Glass. Like Shyamalan is not like unaware of how to build a world, so it's like you could have taken the 3 minutes out of this almost 2 hour long movie and, you know, done a little bit of that. You could have added 5 minutes to this. I'm sorry, is that gonna drag the fucking movie down? Like you know, like give me a fucking break. Furthermore, I will say too, this does get a little long in the tooth. It's an hour 45. You could have cut this down to an hour 35 easily, maybe even 90. Honestly, I think actually at a lean 90-95 minutes, I think this flows better. Because there are just points where he's like walking around this arena, and it's like, well, all right, like he's kind of doing something to set something else up, but you could cut through a lot of these, like him just walking through a hallway and shit. The other thing, he has this conversation with this merch stand guy, and the way that he plays him and the way he gets his card, I will admit that was kind of my like I was just like really like he's like okay, because there's no part of me that thinks that there wouldn't be cameras in that
everywhere
in that merch area.
Yeah,
especially
protect their own inventory.
Yeah, but it's just like you know, he gets his key card stolen from there, and it's like, all right, I'm assuming someone would have been on cameras and seen that shit. So it's one of those things. Like there is a point where I was like, all right, how much of this am I going to give the movie rope, and how much of my critic brain is kicking in where I'm like, okay, that's ridiculous, and I found myself kind of being like I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I look at, because like there would be something cool that would happen, I'd be like, oh, that's cool, but then I would immediately be like, wait a minute, like logistically, like come on, like at some point logic does need to kick in here. There's a point where he just straight up steals a radio, and I was like, I really, like, that works. So I don't know, man. I kept going back and forth on this, but at the end of the day, you know, as I always say, it's about being entertained. And I was entertained, but there are some lapses in logic, I think, that the film asks you to make that, you know, that you just may not be down for, is how I would put it. Canada. Thoughts? Like, were there damn it, we lost Canada again. All right, so I'll keep talking here a bit, but but there are a couple like very interesting set pieces. Like there's this one set piece where he's going ahead and he's talking to this woman who's working concessions, and he basically goes ahead and distracts her, so he's able to go ahead and basically make some glass explode in the sink. It's actually pretty clever the way he does it, but he's doing that to go ahead and get to the roof so he can go ahead and check the radio, see where like the vantage points are for all the cops that are there trying to go ahead and arrest them. And so it actually makes sense from that perspective, some of the stuff that he's doing. It's weirdly like a Splinter Cell game. Like it's very stealthy uh in that way. And he has these moments where you're like, "Oh, okay." So he's using these distractions to go ahead and kind of get deeper into the belly of the beast. Um as far as the singing, and I haven't talked about her too much, but we need to. Um, so I've totally forgot that Shalika Shyamalan is Lady Raven in this. I totally forgot that that's her. Um, so I mean, nepotism, yay! But honestly, she's awesome in this. She's actually really good. She can sing, and I was like, okay, girl, like good for you. Like I like props to you on this. I'm curious to see what else she can do. And I will say, once Salika is acting alongside Hartnett, because there is this point where they go ahead and get one-on-one time for each other. I really think she steps up in a way that someone with lesser talent wouldn't have been able to. Like she really does go ahead and um she really does go ahead and stay in the cut, and she is bringing this sort of authority to the role that I really didn't expect, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised by. Um in terms of of kind of how things wrap up, there is this third act. There is this third act that I think gets insane, and I think God, Canada internet, what's going on?
Oh,
But
sure. Yeah, that was crazy.
but
Thanks for inviting me back.
yeah, right, yeah, we'll go back again. But I was talking about Salika Shyamalan, and we were talking about her acting, and I think now, okay, here's where the movie for me I think gets like very like I this is where my Brad brain almost kicked in, where I was kind of like, okay, movie. Because there's this point where he flat out just admits it. He's like, yeah, I think you've been looking for me. Like and he's talking to her, and she's kind of like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? There is no way you would have a pop star that famous and that you wouldn't have their car bugged or like on a
Or some kind of
GPS. Yeah, like the fact that it's just her phone, I was like, okay, like that is very like flimsy, because they're very much portraying her as like this, Taylor Swift type, this Brina Carpenter type, and there's no fucking way that her limo isn't, um, on a GPS, that they probably don't have some other way. Like I was just like, that's bullshit. Like that was something that I even heard I heard your voice just
Yeah.
go like I just heard you go like like I could imagine the eye roll and the sigh. Did that bug you like that bugged me?
Yeah, of course it
Okay.
did.
Okay.
That made no sense to me. Like it's I mean,
Go ahead. Get
I
it
wish
out. Get it.
I wish I would have saw this as a kid, because then I don't think it would have mattered.
Yeah.
But I've seen the videos where celebrities have like a literal circle of trust that shoves people out of the way to get them one
Yeah.
place to another. And she's on a world tour. She's on a world tour, and she's going back and forth in a limousine, not her tour bus. Like what
Or like an
there
armored
might be a
car.
murderer
Like,
here, but this random white guy wants to talk to Lady Raven. Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. No, there would be 8 people that are paid to.
yeah.
All right, that's like the signal. Let's beat the shit out of this guy.
Yeah. True.
But
Um,
yeah, I mean, my kids pointed out, "Oh, Dad, just have fun." My kids loved this movie, by the way. They had so much
do
fun
they?
watching it.
Okay.
But I'm like, I don't know when it happened, but I struggle to have fun when I'm like,
I've told you this. I've literally said this
like,
in the
really?
chat. Like,
And then his plan to get her, like, what is this plan? What is this plan? Well, I'll just make sure a Taylor Swift popular woman knows who I am, and that'll help me get away. What is your end game here, Josh Hartnett? That's
so,
gonna help you get away?
so I
Admitting
think that's
to someone that popular that you're the murderer?
I think that's kind of my I don't want to say my issue because I think that's where he kind of knew like I think that's where desperation mode kicked in personally. And it's
For
just
sure.
like how long can I like delay what is the inevitable at some point. Wow, afternoon Josh says this movie is a masterclass in white privilege. He's not
Well, we
wrong
did
because
mention that. I did mention that
yeah,
earlier, Josh.
you
Yeah,
did
so we
because that
shouting it out the truth here.
yeah, because if that's a black dude, holy shit, that guy is clubbed like a seal before he even gets backstage. Like there's no fucking uh there's no fucking way. I'll say myself, um, I do like the way the walls close in. Because there's this point because Riley fucking loves this girl. Like the way she plays up her fandom is very well done. It's actually some of the best acting in the movie. And so she goes like, "Hey, why don't I go home? Go to your house," which I thought was clever. By the way, Taylor Swift would never do this shit. There's no fucking way
Right.
Taylor Swift would go to a fan's house of the dad who's a serial killer. No fucking way. That is now. Granted, Taylor Swift camp probably has like a ninja on staff. But they would just kick
Taylor
this guy.
Swift in real time would be writing the song in her head how she met a serial killer.
Yeah, that now we have bad blood again. But
Yeah.
but I like the way that they got to the house, and I like the way that Lady Raven like goes to the piano and starts like playing the song, and like the tension's great in the house. Like once they meet the mom, Rachel, who's played by I'm always excited to see Allison Pill. Oh, right on.
Yeah, I
He of
always like
course,
to see Allison Pill.
yeah,
She's always a good
yeah,
get for me.
she is. Like you know her, of course, from Scott Pilgrim, Goon. Goon is an underrated as fuck
Goon
movie.
was in my top 10 that year.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
see, we'll have to review Goon at some point. That's a great
Yeah,
fucking
that is.
great fucking flick. But I loved her in this just for the little bit we get of her because you can tell like there's just that part of her that's clearly heartbroken, obviously, as you would be if you found out your your partner was killing people. Bit of a damper. But I love the way she's actually stands up to him too. Where she talks about she found this one little thing that was just enough to make her go like, "Oh, that feels weird," and it does actually play to the whole like women's intuition thing where she's like, "This felt off about you," so I just dug a little bit. And often, people, if you dig just a little bit, you might find more than you're than you're bargaining for, which is very much the case here. But I love that conversation that they have, like how matter of fact it is. The fact that she's like, I found this and I just knew that there was something wrong. And I love how matter of fact Cooper is. He's like, oh man, it sucks I'm gonna have to kill you in a little bit. like it's very like
He's super creepy. Yeah, he's very good
oh
at it.
man, like once they get home and those walls really start closing in, there's this great scene where Lady Raven steals Cooper's phone, and we don't see anything that's happening outside the door, but she runs into the bathroom, locks herself in, and she's talking to this guy that Cooper has who he has like locked away, basically ready to kill him with the push of a button. Okay, again, another Bradley moment. I struggle to know what app you can use that would allow you to just push a button
to do a murder trap. Yeah. Is he like secretly an app developer? Is that what his son does? His son develops the app.
That was my like, okay, wouldn't someone see this download and go, that's odd. Like, why is someone download the kill someone remotely app? We might want to check this. Like that was probably my biggest like movie. Like, come on, like like it's kind of like oh, what's that shitty movie? Oh, that Untraceable, that movie that Diane Lane did, where it's like we're
Mhm.
killing people over the internet. It's like, come on, people, like you can't like it gave me those vibes for a second, so I wasn't crazy about that. But I do think the tension of the scene does make up for it if you don't think about that aspect too hard.
Yeah. There was a popular anime where the twist was we killed people over the internet. How? How did you do this thing? And then they'd be like, we drove to their houses and shot them. It's
Okay,
like,
well,
what?
that's
Well, that makes sense, but in a global game, how did you manage that? And you just what? Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It all falls apart really fast. How did you kill Ricky in Chicago and Samuel in Washington in the matter of 30 seconds? And they're like, we're that good, I think was the explanation. Anyways,
I
absurd.
no, yeah, no, it absolutely is. But
Well, I was
uh,
hoping Alison Pill would have said that. Like she said some weird, like, really? Like she says, like, I saw you lie to the neighbor, and I thought he's too good at lying. He's a killer. And I'm like, that's a reach. So I was hoping she led into like this doesn't happen, but I want her to lead into plus all that weird shit on your phone. Clear your browser history, man.
okay, that would have actually been like an interesting like because I'll tell you right now, it's funny. I told like when Elaine and I started dating, I flat out told her like my big red flags like before we were official. I was like, look, I'm just gonna lay this all this shit out now so you can't be surprised. Like I made the joke. I made a joke earlier and she was like, babe, it's not even 8. Like, why are you making this joke? Like, why are you making this joke this early? It's like, oh, like I didn't know my humor was on a clock. Like, all right, fine. Like so
It's 8 o'clock
so
somewhere.
exactly. But my and I hate to do this, but I'm going to. My biggest issue with this movie is the ending. I hate that he
Mhm.
got away. I honestly was like, after
He might
all of
not have,
that,
but
he he got away. Don't do that. He got away, and the movie makes it
Ah.
pretty clear that he got away.
He has so many things that just make like they melt my brain is what I
There is
call
a
it.
there is a point where he's in this car. You don't see a car door open. You don't see like him pull Nick Fury and drill through the hole in the car and like drill through like create a hole in the ground. He just phantoms. He fucking Michael Myers like out of that car, and he's wearing a hoodie. And I just went,
And the car
what?
is surrounded by people as
Yeah,
well,
I just went, how the
hundreds of
fuck did
people.
he get out? And like look y'all, like I can give some rope, like I can, but I was like, guys, like this is like you're actively questioning my intelligence here, and like at some point like enough is enough. And um one of the things that the movie actually does that I have to give it credit for is there's this point where Lady Raven is like handcuffed in the back of her own limo, which again, no GPS, fuck you, that's why. But she gets out and she's like, and everyone surrounds her as they should. But
Mhm.
then they go again, they go ahead and they surround the limo and he's gone. And I just went, this doesn't
Yeah,
what?
what
And
how did he get away? There
it
was a
just
secret
doesn't
hatch underneath the limo, that's how I explained it. He planned for the secret hatch underneath the limo, which led into the sewers, back to his own secret hatch, and things like
right. But
that. Like there are so many secret hatches in this movie. I think M
oh
Night is
man,
purposely trolling us. Like when they're like, "Oh, he had a secret hatch in his house," and I'm like, Allison Pill couldn't have said something like, "Oh, well, like the you lied to the neighbor." Maybe it's because I felt like attacked. Like, oh, a neighbor was like, "Hey, you guys should come over sometime." I've been that guy that's been like, "Ah, real busy," when I'm not busy. I just don't want to see you. You know, like we're all that
yeah, that's
neighbor.
fair.
So
That's
for her to
fair.
hear that and be like, "He must be a murderer," I'm like, "What? What? What? That is such a reach." Like, why
Yeah,
not? Oh, well, there's a secret hatch in our kitchen pantry, so that's odd.
yeah, it's
When did
there are
he
just
install
moments
that and how?
there are just moments like that I just went,
What did you think about? So he escaped. Like, I want to dive into this and get your thoughts.
yeah, of course.
So he escapes the limo with Magic Michael Myers powers. I like that, and he returns to his own home. And for the rest of the movie, we're witnessing sexy shirtless Hartnett.
Oh
Like,
man. Okay. So
he's
when that
unquestionably a psycho murderer, but now he's sexy. Like, what did you think of that sudden
so
direction?
you know what's fucked is it made me think of that in that Anne Hathaway, Peter Dinklage, Melissa Tomei
Yeah, yeah,
movie.
yeah.
I
I've seen that. Yeah,
hated She Came to Me,
yeah.
where Anne Hathaway just has a fucking mental breakdown and starts stripping in front of like the guy that's been hitting on her, who she's been counseling. It
Mhm.
made me think of that, where I went, why is this scene in here? Because like the guy's been a creep the whole movie, and then she's like, oh my god, like I just like I need to feel like I'm in control of someone. So she strips in front of the man who's been sexually assaulting her or been
Mhm.
sexually harassing her,
Yeah.
and the movie's like is that a Yas Queen moment, or like what is this? Like why
Yeah.
is this in here? Like why is this in here? And I kind of thought the same thing with Josh Hartnett, where I'm like, okay, so
I thought,
you're kind of fucked.
yeah.
Like why you'd go back to your house is like it's so funny that they make that joke in Tag, where it's like going back to the house would be too obvious, and then he does, but it's because he built a whole fucking backdrop to trick everyone. So you go, okay, fair enough. He just goes back there, and I just went, all right. So she's gonna call the cops. It like why? Why would you go back there? It's such a weird and then to your point, yeah, he strips. He just like gets shirtless. I went, I mean, you know, eye candy, meow, but also like why?
Mhm.
Why
He
is
looks like a
this?
firefighter. I'll say that. It's good
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Josh having the
Oh no,
firefighter body.
he stayed in shape, which you know, props to him. But I just
Yeah, I just
it's a
kept
very
thinking, "Oh,
weird
is she in on it and this is their kink?" But then she's
dude.
not in
Okay,
on it at
I
all.
thought the same thing. I was like, are they? I was like, so that actually would have been the interesting route to go. Is
Mhm.
like she
It would have been a
knew,
twist for sure.
yeah, like he loves his twist. But I was like, that would have been interesting that the parents are doing this together. There's an episode of Dexter where where there's that couple who's like um bring in like Cubans and they basically have them work
Mhm.
for them for like a week and then like kill them. Like I was like,
Yeah.
if you went that route, that actually would have been interesting. And I kind of would, and that's a role Alison Pill could like dig into. So I was like, that would have been fun. And you know, they don't do that, which you know, lame. But yeah, that scene was very weird. And I think the last 15 minutes is unfortunately kind of filled with shit like that. Where I just went, I don't know why this is here,
Like the
or you
cops
could have.
bringing the kids back to the crime scene.
Yeah,
What's going on there?
which why would you do like because you're traumatizing these fucking kids, not just saying
Yeah,
like
even
like so
worse.
there's shit like that where I just went logistically this makes no sense and like you're actually being horrendous cops by because what are you gonna do? Take them back to the place where their father is and could potentially hurt them, yell something at them, take them? Like what do you like why? Like what purpose is this serve? And then you're gonna have the neighbors who you know the neighbors are gonna be bitchy about it, be like, oh man, like because the first thing I guarantee you, the first thing that one of those shitty neighbors is gonna ask uh Allison Pill's Rachel is like, how could you live with someone that long and not know what they're doing? I
Mhm.
guarantee
I
you
would
that's a
totally
first.
dogpile on her, yeah.
Yeah, oh 1,000%.
You put us
So
all in, there'd be the one super alpha neighbor that's like, "You put our whole neighborhood in danger." I think she was in on it, and,
a
ugh,
thousand percent.
Riley's
So
life is officially screwed.
oh
They,
yeah, like
they can move, like,
yeah,
that would
you
be my
moving
exit,
is
like, we literally have to move and never
yeah, you
come
have to
back
start
here.
over. You have to start over, which is a shame because that house is
It
really nice.
is. It was very nice.
But yeah, getting the final thoughts. I mean, this is one of those where I am really kind of conflicted because is it dumb? Oh my god, it's so dumb. Like as I was watching it and just hearing you go like, oh my god, this part's like you're coming up on a
My
dumb
brain
part,
is
Hunter. You don't
melting.
even know. But the thing is, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Like because this is dumb. Like I went back and watched a couple clips and I just found myself chuckling. I was like, man, like the more you do think about it, like the less this makes sense. Like there is just so many holes you can poke in this.
Yeah.
Uh not even trying that hard, honestly. And you can find issues. But I did find myself entertained through most of it. But again, this is one of those cases where, you know, it's something I've talked about. I've watched I've watched a lot of film this year, and I've seen films that are 85 minutes that have been able to tell a full story. and not feel like they're overstaying their welcome. And this is an hour 45, and even with all the bells and whistles, you could easily cut 10-15 minutes from this, and I think you actually get a better, more concise, more like tighter film. That's actually been something M. Night has kind of struggled with, honestly, is his run times. It feels like sometimes the runtime is just longer for the sake of being longer. But
Yeah.
but with that said, you know, I'm gonna go C on this because I'll be real, I just don't think like a C plus feels a little too generous for for some of the shit that this movie pulls, and I can't go there. But I think a C is fair. It's a very enthusiastic C. It's on Max now, so HBO Max now, so you can watch it. Josh, I will be reviewing Harold and the Purple Crayon because it's on Netflix. I was not about to pay to rent that shit. I already know. Like I'm just like, nah, fam. Like, well, you know what's fun? Okay, so real quick before I get to your rating, fuck it, I'll throw this out. I actually stopped myself last night from doing it. I'm very proud of myself. But I saw, I'm paraphrasing, but Zachary Levi basically tweeted out last night. He's like, "This is a time for unity, and we need to stop fighting each other." I'm like, motherfucker, you've been ranting about RFK Jr. being our best choice and how the Democrats want to kill kids. It's like, suck my dick,
RFK
Shazam.
Jr.
Like, I don't want
getting this again, falling back better. You deserve better, please. You deserve better. He's got a brainworm, not an accusation, not criticizing him. Public knowledge. A doctor saying, yeah, brainworm. He needs help. Like, don't stop propping up people who need real help and their own personal lives sorted out. Like, you Republicans, please, you deserve better. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Jr. is fucking awful. Aaron Rodgers will be my running mate. Fucking, you deserve better. RFK Jr., you deserve better than having to talk to Aaron Rodgers. Like, what are you all doing? Okay.
Yeah, no, dude, you're right. But yeah, like I think a C. I think a C is
fine.
fair.
Like me,
I think
I'm
it's
brutal.
Oh, where you
Again,
going?
I have not seen The Last Airbender. Like, there have been people that are like, "Oh, you're way too hard on Trap." It's not even close to his worst film.
It's
And
not.
for me, I'm like, The Lady in the Water is his worst film. And they're like,
I agree with
"What?
that.
Oh, what? You haven't seen Airbender?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, that explains a lot
Well,
of
ooh,
context."
have you seen the Happening?
Yes, I did see The Happening. I
Okay,
forget that's him.
yeah, because
What,
the
you gonna
Happening
tell
is
about the
worse.
beast? You don't want to
The,
save the
the
beast?
Happening is like Lady in the Water. I think is just a misguided attempt at a fable. Like I can at
Yeah.
least appreciate the attempt of taking a swing at something different, but I think the Happening is just is garbage. Like that
You
kind of
know,
that was kind of the start of Mark Wahlberg's like I'll say yes to anything because we got how many seasons of Entourage, but I can't. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that movie. Yeah, I think that's his worst one.
for me, and again, it happens in this film. There's something about the way M. Night writes that I respond aggressively. Like, Lady in the Water, you have truth in you, and you'll try and share that truth, and people won't like it. They'll hate it, but it'll make you a hero and save the world. So I'm like, okay, Lady in the Water, what is his truth he's going to share? And we're never told. And I'm like, are you
Yeah,
fucking kidding me? This is how cult leaders think.
yeah, you're not wrong.
And then the next one that really like upset me. Oh my gosh. There's just so many like, oh, God murdered your wife. So Meryl would know to beat up an intruder with a bat. I'm like, are you kidding me? The unconditional love of God murdered your wife so you'd beat up an alien? Oh, yeah, Mel Gibson also present. Really
Yeah,
subtle context. The aliens need to be beat to death by a bat, and the
right.
water or message of Christ kills them. Cool, cool. And
Yeah,
Mel Gibson is also sitting right there.
you could
I
say that
hate that.
water is holy.
Yeah.
You get it?
And then this one, I'm like, well, at least none of the messaging is grossing me out. Lady Raven stops the concert and says, "If anyone out there, raise your phones, raise up your phones high, turn on your lights." And I'm like, okay, it's a pop star.
Yeah.
And then she gives this speech: "If someone has hurt you, tell them I forgive you. You've done nothing wrong. I
Oh
forgive you.
yeah, I
You've
forgot
done."
about. Oh, I
Gross.
forgot about that.
Gross.
Yeah,
That's
that's not
awful.
great.
That is not a way to apologize.
Yeah, no, no,
And if
no.
you're the
That's
one that's hurt, you don't do the apologizing. What is this gross message? He definitely
you know
wrote
what?
that. There's no way
I
a woman
forgot
pop
about
star wrote
that.
that.
That's fair. I did forget about that little
And,
speech
well,
she gave.
again, it's me again. It's a personal issue where there's just something about most of his films where I'm like, "Well, that's really gross." And that attacks my own core beliefs. And people have said,
Yeah.
like my wife has said, no one is thinking about this when they watch Signs. They're just thinking about, yay, the family's okay. I'm like, I don't know. It's
Okay, so actually, I I agree with you on
and
signs.
this was
On
before Mel Gibson exploded and revealed himself as a
yeah. Well, here's the
alcoholic
thing,
bigot.
dude.
So
I was coming out of Passion of the Christ being like, are we gonna talk about how this is just like
a
torture
snuff
porn? And
film,
there's like,
yeah,
yeah, like are we gonna have this conversation? But I had all those people at church going like, oh my like that movie is like that movie is designed to make you feel bad. Like that's all that
sure,
movie is.
100%.
But it's like, okay, if I'm supposed to feel bad about that, are we not gonna have the conversation about how Mel Gibson should be feel bad about calling women sugar tits? Oh, we're not gonna have that
Mhm.
conversation.
A
Oh,
police
awesome.
officer
Because
as well, yeah.
yeah, so it's like, so when it comes to signs, I don't disagree with you. And I actually think the water being the thing that kills them, even when I saw it initially, I rolled my eyes. I was like, oh man, like I know there's some like, dude, I'm black. Water is like my greatest natural rival. Like even I was just like, dude, what is your issue with water? Like, I'm like, all right, like you need water to survive, right? like,
Oh, and then you have Split, which I think is a great film. Anya
yeah,
Taylor-Joy and James McAvoy are incredible in that. At the end where he's like, "You got molested? That means you're special, and I won't hurt you because special people shouldn't be hurt." Like, did this film just take the longest roundabout way to say, "Uncle Bad Touch might save your life someday, so don't be too hard on him." Are you kidding me? What is
yeah.
this? What is this? And again, I might be looking too much into it. I might be like, oh my god. But
No, you know what's
Ooh,
funny though? Like you bring that up and like that is something you could easily draw from it. Like I
yeah.
don't think you're wrong. Also though, and I think this is a point that, shout out to Amy. You're great. But I think that stuff hitting you at the end of the movie too, because it is the last thing
Yeah.
you're left though. If you're just like, oh fuck off. Like so I don't like I get why that would like well, because it's the same thing. And I won't go off about the, but it's like the same thing with like that movie Songbird I watched a couple years ago. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
you don't need to stay in your house. Fuck getting COVID. Only the strong survive. It's like, oh fuck. Like if you're a real patriot, you'd go. It's like, oh suck my dick. Like that is not what the point of this is at all. So, and that's what the movie leaves you on. So I don't disagree with you. But yeah, your final thoughts and grades, sir.
Okay, so this guy at the end is like poisoned, he's electrocuted, he's tasered, he's
He's a
handcuffed, and he
Terminator.
just
He's
keeps
a
kicking.
Terminator.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
Terminator. If this is in the M. Night Shyamalan universe and he's actually like the Beast, like he's just a superhero, that's fine. I can
Yeah.
overlook that. That's actually kind of funny and
Yeah.
good. Um, yeah, I'll just say this is a D for me. It's not his worst.
Damn.
It's definitely
D.
not his worst,
Okay.
but it just makes me so irritated. And to hear people like, "Well, he's a good dad except for the murdering." Oh my god. The
Oh,
bar to be a good dad
you
is so
you
low.
you
It
were
is so
hating
low
so
in
much
this life.
about saying
Yeah.
that. You're like, "Oh, her goddamn, she's not a good." I was like, "No, no, no. He took her. Like he is being a good dad." Like, well,
And then, oh,
the irony is that if he wasn't being a good dad, he wouldn't have gotten caught because they wouldn't have gone. But
right.
yeah, but at the same
I made
time,
a
to
joke
your
to my kid about that where they were like, "Well, he was acting like a good dad." I'm like, "He's not a good dad. He took his daughter to a concert that he knew a serial killer was attending." They're like, "Ah, ha, 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 ha."
um
But, the last scene where he's being led to the paddy wagon, the police car, and the
Yeah.
children, no, not the children, just Riley is like, "Dad, no, Dad," and she breaks free from the cops to run and hug him, and the profiler saying, "No, let her go." Like, what?
Yeah.
Let her go?
So again, you are pointing out something where I went,
That's terrible ending.
why is she hugging her dad? Like why is she not
Why is
terrified?
everyone cool with it?
Yeah, why are the neighbors not telling this guy to go fuck himself and like yelling and like come on.
And
Like
to Joshua's point, if this was a person of color, he would have been shot to death in the
oh
limo with
dude,
Lady Raven still inside.
1,000%.
If it
Yeah,
just unloaded on that limo. And people in the crowd would have too, like, "Yay, I'm a vigilante, I'm helping." And
yeah, no.
yeah,
There's no way.
I'm going, and yeah, it's a personal. I know, I have trouble having fun. So yeah, this D is something I have to own, and maybe in 10 years down the road, I'll be like, this is a lot funner than I thought. I'll bump it up to a C.
I will say you would if you watched Avatar,
And
you would
people have
have this
said this, yeah.
you would have this at a C minus, like at
How
worst.
bad is this
But
Avatar movie?
oh, dude, like it's like I'm telling you, like it is like I'm trying to think of a compare. Like it is Batman and Robin bad. Like it's really bad. Um, I've seen M Night be worse, and I'll be real, man. The more you're kind of God, I hate that you kind of have this ability to. I'm gonna give it a C minus because like Canada like brought up a few points that I am like, yeah, she did hug her dad even after knowing he's a like, and this is including after he's like yelling at the family and terrorizing them while Lady Raven's trying to save the guy. It's just like okay, like there are these things that you just kind of like the movie just kind of shrugs and goes, accept it. Um, and I think even the hugging thing wouldn't bug me so bad if he hadn't been verbally abusing them like 15 minutes prior.
Right. Yeah.
So, which admittedly is a tough pill to swallow when, and again, that ending, it really did bug me. I just went after all of this, he gets away anyway. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Like he should have been caught. It's so weird that all three people die in glass and you can kill this asshole who like genuinely deserves. Like I
Yeah.
just like that's so weird to me. But whatever.
He
So
kills a cop. He kills a cop.
yeah.
And then they're like, "No, let her go." Like I thought, okay, it's gonna be redeemed. He's gonna start strangling his daughter, and they're gonna be like, "Oh no, what do we do? What do we do?"
Yeah.
But no,
But
he doesn't. It's a loving, hugging moment that we're all supposed to be moved by, I guess. Whatever.
yeah, it's like I'll be real. It would have been equally as gross if Allison Pills Rachel's like, I know you're about to go to prison, but if you want to fuck me one more time,
Yeah, just one more time.
like yeah, like she might as well have said that. Like it would have been just as gross
Yeah.
as like the whole hug aspect. So Canada is actually talking me down
Because
to
he
a
is
C
shirtless
minus.
in that scene already. He's very
Yeah, I
shiny
know
and
you're.
shirtless.
I mean, you're already halfway home. Like, I mean, you don't even need to take underwear off. You can just slide them down or move them to the side.
He claps twice, and suddenly in the kitchen, "Never, ever, ever gonna love again," just starts playing.
Oh man, it would have been really funny if they had sex to one of Lady Raven's songs.
Oh yeah,
Like just like go full meta, but also like the cops show up like Cooper, we have the house surrounded. Can you give me a second? Give me
I just need 5 minutes.
yeah. Actually, do you want to throw some of those handcuffs in here?
They're like 5 minutes. That seems a bit long, and everyone looks at that officer, and he's like, "I mean,
I mean, what?
but
Yeah.
fellas, yeah,
But yeah, y'all. So C minus from me, a D from Canada. But yeah, that is our review for Trap. Everyone, I'm gonna go have. I realize I have not eaten today. That's why I'm starting to feel lightheaded. So I'm gonna change that right now because I am starving. But everyone, please, please, please go vote. You can go ahead and Google your state, Google when your latest polling place. It's very easy to do. I would show you on the computer, but be quite frankly, I don't want some of y'all to know where I live, considering all the Fox News jokes I make. So I'm gonna keep so no, y'all ain't getting me. But please go vote. Please vote blue. Please think about the people in your life that lives would be affected by how you vote. And I always encourage that. Like, it's not always about voting about what's best for you. It's about what's voting, what's best for your tribe, best for the people in your life. And if you have an LGBTQ person in your life, if you have a daughter, if you have a person of color that you're close to, there's one choice and it's not even close. Actually, fuck that. If you just believe in human decency, there's only one choice. What the fuck am I talking about? It doesn't even need to be that deep. But I am off for the rest of the week. I'm going radio silent right after this, so I will be back next week. I will have a review for several things, including several indie films. I'm going to have a review next week for Gladiator, as well as a review for Gladiator 2. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to see Wicked. That's going to be hard because Gladiator is like 3 hours and then Wicked's like 2 hours 40. So I don't know when I'm going to get a chance. Yeah, so I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to see 6 hours of film back to back. I hope I get a screener for one of them between now and then. Yeah, but that's 6 hours, y'all. I don't want to spend all that time in a theater, so I might have to stagnate those reviews out. But for the rest of the month, I'll have some more interviews, got some more streams. I'm gonna stream a little more Resident Evil 4 because that was fun. So I'll be back to streaming next week. I'll be back to streaming AEW Dynamite. I'm gonna start doing watch alongs for that on Wednesday, so I will have that as well. What else? Next week I'll have my review for Agatha All Along. I might have Doggett on for that. Shout out to Doggett. But we'll see how that goes. And then I am gonna have a review as well for The Penguin next week as well. I'm excited to see how that wraps up. I have not watched last week's episode, so shut up. But yeah, I'll have reviews for The Penguin, Agatha All Along, Gladiator, and Gladiator 2 all next week. So that's quite the helping of Real Pineapple. So you're welcome. And then as far as streaming, I know I mentioned I'm going to stream Resident Evil 4. As we get closer to the holiday season, I will have a 12 days of Real Pineapple reviews. So I already have the list pretty much finalized as far as what I'm going to review. I was very bad about Real Scary Series this year. That's my bad. I have all these Halloween reviews now that I'm not going to upload, so I might save them until next year. Canada and I even reviewed a couple of Treehouse of Horror.
I like it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh well, like I don't really want to upload these, so we might
not out of season.
Yeah, so now, we're out of season now, so but I will have Canada on to help review a Christmas Simpsons episode because that'll be fun. But as far as streaming in December, assuming I get the game, I am going to be streaming Power Rangers Rita's Revenge next or Rita's Rewind next month. That will be something I'm streaming because it's Power Rangers and I can't wait for that fucking game. So I will be streaming that. And then outside of that, y'all, I think that's it. So fuck, what am I talking about? There is it will be up on the channel by the time you actually hear this. But my review for Untruth, The Psychology of Trumpism, will be up on the channel in like 20 minutes. I did a interview with the director of the documentary, Dan Partland. That interview is up right now, so please go ahead and check that out. We talked for over an hour about Trump, the documentary, politics. There's a lot we cover in that interview, so please take the time to check that out. If you are for some reason undecided, definitely check that out. No, I am not doing an election stream. I don't want to know about the election. I will deal with that shit on Thursday. I'm literally going internet dark outside of the chat, but I will be dark on everything for the next couple days. So, and then I also did an interview or a review and interview for this documentary, Our Dad Danielle, which is about Daniel Joy Healy coming out as a trans woman at the age of 57. So that interview is up on the channel right now. and the review for that will be up on the channel as well. So please go ahead and check those out. But Canada, before I let you go, can you let the people where they can know they can find you and what you got coming up?
Yeah, I'm just over at oneofus.net. Latest reviews would be Woman of the Hour.
Nice.
I've also have an upcoming Agatha All Along review, which I've been able to watch again, and the context of the rewatch makes it surprisingly better. And there's been
if you're
it's
free
been a
next week,
minute.
I'll have to have
Yeah.
you on. If you're free
Wonderful.
next week, yeah.
Thank you.
But
Yes.
quite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, of course. It's like Loki. When you watch Loki twice as well, you're like, wow, this extra context of knowing the story is kind of hitting even harder the second time through.
I think mysteries work a lot like that though, because it is like, you know,
especially
like
well-written ones. Yeah,
like because you're like, you know, I remember like the same thing with like Knives Out, just being like, what the fuck is going on? And then once you have the context, you're like, oh shit, and then it actually all wraps. So
I've been pretty much like, just a spoiler
that's fine.
statement, like, wow, are Catherine Hahn and Hiddleston gonna do something now together? Because I'd like to watch that, please.
Yeah, there is precedent.
Is there a possibility of that? They're hitting, like, man, so good.
Yeah,
I think I could watch it. It doesn't even have to be MCU related. I would just love to see them act together. Can we get Tom Holland, Kamala Khan's actress, what's her name, Iman? And this, and this Billy Locke and who's ever doing Riri Williams' character. Can we just? I mean, it's all there now. Let's just pull the Band-Aid and put him in there. Like, Sony, can you just stop being petty bitches and let Tom Holland act with these other people?
Right.
And that's my feeling on the MCU right now, which is shockingly more positive than it's been in a long time.
Yeah, for you, that's actually very
right. So yeah, I got a Agatha All Along review coming. Woman of the Hour just posted on oneofus.net, and pretty much Your Monster. Anything that I want people to actually watch, I'm in that mode of reviewing right now. So check me out at oneofus.net.
Oh shit, I need to post that review. I'll post that next week too. But I reviewed Your Monster, and I don't know if they'll crack the top 10 because I still got a lot of shit to watch, but that will be an honorable mention at worst. I dug the hell out of Your Monster. Real quick, this has been a very weird year for me in terms of like men are terrible. Oh my god, shut up. And then me watching a movie and going like, oh wow, men are terrible. And I won't spoil it, but that man does something to Melissa Barrero's character in that movie that I was like, you should shoot him in the dick for that. Like, it's such a I'll talk to you about it off mic, but
yeah,
the moment this one thing happened, I was like, yeah, fuck this guy, shoot him right in the cock. I was like, you are fucking ass. Like, but that movie,
same page.
But that movie's so good. But dude, tell people where they can find you, man. You can tell people where they can find you.
Oneofus.net. I'm also on Letterboxd. I only write usually one sentence reviews, which may or may not make sense, but I have fun writing them.
They usually do.
At Bradley of Martin. There's no Ian Bradley, just Bradly of Martin. And my socials not so much. I'm on Instagram at Bradley of Martin, but
you are,
that's mostly just to follow family. But just whatever. Just check me out. Thank you.
Yeah. But everyone, thank you so much for listening. Please stay safe. Take care of each other. I will not be in public spheres for a couple of weeks because I'm just be careful out there, y'all. Just honestly, like, please be careful. Please be careful. Again, actually here.
Very nice.
Yeah. But stay safe out there, everyone. Take care of each other. And never forget, as always, to keep it real. Have a great night, and we'll see y'all next week. Take care.